It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 28th. Good morning, one and all. I can't remember the last time I heard the studio version of Shout It Out Loud. I'm a Kiss Alive 2 guy myself. I know you are, Zup.
Yeah, as well. But that worked for me, just to hear the guys. That was a party tune to get the day started here.
Oh, yeah. And the nice hard stop right there at the end. Yeah, don't kid yourself. That caught me by surprise.
It did me as well. I went, that's right.
Oh, the song ended. There's no cheering. All right, moving on. We've got an issue I need to discuss. I'm concerned about the younger Americans, the youth, if you will. The kids are the future, right? That's what they tell me.
That's what they say.
We've got a problem with the youngsters, and that is, well, I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to say it. Menu anxiety.
Oh, geez. What
Yeah,
now?
the kids have they're struggling with menu anxiety. Has anyone here ever panicked at a restaurant when the waiter or waitress, when the wait person says, "And what will you be having?" If you go, that's menu anxiety. And apparently, over 40% of people under 40 struggle with this. Candace, you're chirping already. Have we touched on a sore subject?
Well, yeah, I'm very indecisive by nature, so it takes me a while to figure out what I want because I want all the things. But I usually talk to the server about the people.
Oh.
Okay, well, that's fine. As long as you're looking for information and as long as you're proactive in accessing that information and then making a decision filled with discernment, that's cool with me.
Are you affected by what other people order? Does that influence what you do?
Yeah, and my friend Jessica in particular, I always end up copying her. Like, I'll go around and think about other options, but then I'll always just copy what she gets.
And there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. But there are some people that get weirded out when you order, I was going to get that. Well, go ahead. I don't think it's one per table. Feel free. I cohabitate often with someone who has menu anxiety, and she is not under 40 years of age, but it's paralyzing for her, and she's a very decisive person, but it gets uncomfortable. I kind of think it's funny, but sometimes the server will have to come back to the table because you say, we just need another minute.
Really?
And this the server may have to revisit the table just to get the drink order 4 times. I kid you not, over and over again. I just sit there and watch her squirm and fidget. I'm like, you only eat 2 things. You drink 1 thing. What's the option? What's going on in your head?
Does she have an expansive palate? Is it just so many things, and then you go, well, she eats 2 things?
Yeah, no, she gets this or that generally, and then she'll just try and ask some uncomfortable questions like, okay, so steak. So you'll make that how I want to? Yeah, okay.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, oh, geez, just, And then, so I thought, I remember when we were just dating, I thought, I'm going to help her out here. She needs a little hand. I'll order for her.
No.
Yeah. Totally.
Whoops.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought, you know what? And the lady will have, and she just looked at the server. She looked at me and she goes, oh, well, do you know what I'll have? I guess he's making all the decisions for me. I'm like, I just,
yeah, what are you, Humphrey Bogart all of a sudden?
Once upon a time, come on. I mean, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Has she ever had an eating disorder?
Not that I'm aware of, I mean, she'll put it all down, She doesn't have a bite or 2. I don't know what that is, but even the drink, it's just, you can sense the anxiety. She's gripping the menu. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is with me, and it's a me thing I'm projecting onto others, because this kind of winds me up when I'm next to someone with menu anxiety, to the point where with the kids who are both in college now, it was like a thing with me when they were little. If we were eating out, look the waiter in the eye, say exactly what you want, and put the menu down. Like, I had a real, I had travel protocol. If you're in an airport, walk fast. Get to the gate, then figure out where the magazine store is. Then figure out where get where you're going. I have all these little quirks. But the restaurant thing was one of them. I'm like, if you're going to eat out, don't be the person that holds the table up. It's a real wind up for me. Probably because huge family, and then I spent years on the road at big group dinners, and I was always like, oh my God, we're going to be here all night. Let's go. Like, let's pick up the pace. I will sit down at a bar on occasion, and, more often than not now, you saddle up to a bar, you look up, there's 30 taps.
Right?
And I'll go, well, hang on, I do want to take a minute with this. As far as if I'm getting the burger, the BLT, or the salad, whatever. But the beer choice, hold on. I will take a few minutes with that one. But that's not. But I literally will order food without a second thought, because the truth is, very rarely have I gotten something at a restaurant and then looked around the table and literally thought, I mean, I've had the thought of, I should have gotten that. That looks better. But it lasts about a minute, and then you just get on with it. The folks who are thinking about it over and over and over, Candace excluded, it really makes me nuts. How about this? A lot of people say one thing they're considering. Okay, I get it if you're looking at if the price freaks you out. Everybody's on a budget. Everybody is in different places. If you're looking at a menu and you realize, like, crap, everything's more expensive than I was hoping, okay, I'll absolutely cut you slack there. That's being responsible. I was blown away. I'm reading a thing that says people are worried about the environmental impact of what they're going to eat.
Oh, geez. All right,
now,
I'm out.
If they're basting these chickens in uranium, okay, let me know. Sure, granted. What is this, a DDT dry rub? What the hell are you talking about? I just, by the time that food's already in the kitchen, and I get you say, well, if everybody stopped ordering it, then the world would clean itself up or whatever. But no, man, by the time the menu's in my hand, that is the last thing on my mind, for better or worse. Just saying that's what it is.
Yeah, the meat's already hanging up. The damage has been done. Why not enjoy it? One of the things that got me into also a little this damned if you do and damned, because people with anxiety, sometimes you just can't win when you suggest things, is the menus are all available online now. So I'll do the old, well, you know what, maybe you want to take a peek. We're going to leave here in about 15 minutes if you want to.
Little research.
We're on the way there. Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
I'll order when I like to look at that, so I don't know. That's something, Candace, maybe just a little.
Yeah, I do that too, but it takes me time when I'm actually there. I'm just I'm indecisive. That's who I am.
Okay.
Accept me.
Is it just at restaurant? Are you indecisive other places? Because now that we're talking about this, you know what I've realized? Rosemary will bust me at the grocery store because she'll say, get some sauce, meaning go get a marinara. We're having pasta. And I will look at that marinara shelf and I will be like, well, I Paul Newman's cool. I like him. I know Newman's own. Ooh. Oh, wait. I've heard of this restaurant in New York, Rouse. They got a good, but then the store brand, I mean, that's cheaper. I will stare at 9 different varieties of marinara for 11 minutes. And then she'll come down and she says, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, sorry. And then I'll just grab one. Yeah. I'll look at I'll go to the onions and I'll be like, wait, do I want a Vidalia, like a sweet yellow onion or a white onion? And I'll stand there I'll lose 90 seconds and then go, it's for hot dogs. A white onion. Stop. What are you talking about? I mean, I'm hardly Chef Tell over here. You know?
That's interesting. You just kind of get paralyzed by looking at that. Sometimes for me, and people think it's a cop-out, but cleaning, I get paralyzed. I just look at the place and I go, okay, well, just start a dust for, no, I'll pick up the clothes. No.
Oh, man.
Maybe I should go over to the dish. I don't. I mean, if I start there and then if I don't want to, you know what I'll do? I'll just PS5 about it.
Yeah,
I'll just sit down and PS5 about. All right, well, some little things that you just are indecisive about, simple little everyday, occurrences that paralyze you, or maybe someone and it drives you crazy. We'd love to hear about it this morning.
99 out of 100 people don't think twice. What's the thing that just sticks you, though, where you're like, everyone's going to know my terrible secret about socks?
Yeah. All right, we're rolling.
Right now, Mike Evans is with us for today's Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, and Minnesota, hey, happy Paul Bunyan Day today.
Wow, the things I learned from Mike Evans in California about my own backyard.
Paul Bunyan Day today. Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
A lot of legal stuff today, Steve. The two men who sued Michael Jackson for sexual assault when they were kids, that was thrown out due to lack of evidence. And we're also behind the documentary Leaving Neverland 10 years ago. 3-judge panel has given them a second bite at the apple. This time they'll be suing Michael Jackson's company. I covered the huge child molesting trial against Michael in Santa Barbara 30 years ago when 12 jurors found Michael innocent. This trial may or may not take place, but if it does, guarantee it'll be a big deal and it will be televised. But I got to tell you, Steve, it reminds me, covering Michael Jackson's funeral, when Al Sharpton was speaking and looked down at Michael's 3 kids in the front row, and Sharpton said, quote, Don't let anybody ever tell you that your daddy was strange. Yeah, that was the comment from everybody there. It was sort of a gasp and a laugh. I mean, like him or hate him, Michael Jackson was definitely strange.
Yeah, well, the less said, the better. How about that?
That's probably the best way to go. Oh, by the way, Kevin Spacey faces sex assault charges today in London. He's back in court today as well.
Whoever would have thought we'd be talking about Kevin Spacey and Michael Jackson in the same conversation so often?
Unbelievable.
Never saw that one coming.
I didn't either. 30 years ago this week, Lorena Bobbitt cut off her husband John Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I thought she cut off his Bobbitt. You're right. It was his penis.
She is remarried. She has a daughter. And check this out, Steve. She's a volunteer at a domestic violence center.
Who better? The woman knows of what she speaks.
That's true. John has been married, divorced 3 times. He's a treasure hunter in Finn Forest in the Rockies. And in case you forgot, his penis was reattached.
I was going to ask, if he's been married and divorced several times, I would assume they got that bad boy back together.
Yeah, it might be a little dog leg left or something. I don't know.
Were we ever so innocent as those wild early 90s? Was it really that? It was like Camelot, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, she threw it out along the side of the road as she was blazing away from them. Remember, a cop found it along the side of the road?
Right.
Unbelievable.
Man, where's the body cam footage from that day?
Exactly, yeah. I hope he had gloves on, but that's another story. Brian Kohlberger was in court yesterday accused of killing 4 college students in Idaho. His lawyer says the police found DNA of at least 3 other men in the house, and they weren't told about it. This is when they got evidence the following morning after the murder, and that should help clear their client. Well, that's wrong. There was a party at that house the night before. At least 15 people there. There's going to be a lot of DNA left behind.
Yeah.
Kohlberger wore gloves, except his fingerprints were found on the knife sheath that was found in the house. Trial starts October 3rd and faces the firing squad.
Wow.
As predicted here a month ago, confirmed yesterday, Ryan Seacrest, the new host of Wheel of Fortune. But, Steve, how about Vanna White is suing the producers since she hasn't got a raise in 18 years, and she was promised that she'd get the role as host? What do you make of that?
If it wasn't in a contract, if that wasn't signed and sealed and delivered with attorneys present, I can't imagine she's got a case.
I agree.
I don't have a thought on whether she should be or not. I'm not familiar with her hosting skill set, but yeah, I saw that she's lawyering up, and all I thought was, well, you either have that written down and authorized or not.
Absolutely.
Contracts help. Contracts, they go a long way.
It could be bitter party of one as well.
I guess I'm just out of the loop. Wheel of Fortune's still obviously a huge show for Ryan Seacrest, he's a giant. He's a huge name. I was actually surprised to see him taking the gig, but what do I know?
He's going to make a lot of money. And
yeah,
finally,
I guess so.
Something a little different. A very, very close friend of mine who is in D.C., really, really knows politics, been there forever, usually right when he makes a prediction, told me this: don't be surprised if there is a third party up for the presidency next year, and the president, vice president, he told me, he predicted, would be Robert F. Kennedy, president, and Tulsi Gabbard, vice president.
Okay.
I'm just a messenger. He told me that. I go, what the heck? But I thought I'd share it with you. Who knows? I mean, really, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, we're stamping this Wednesday, June 28th. Evans called his shot.
He called his shot. I just wanted to share.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Hey, guys, have a great day. Happy Paul Bunyan Day. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.
Thanks so much, Mike Evans. Okay, here's some Minnesota ignorance for you on display. Paul Bunyan. Well, go ahead. Mock me all you want. Was that a real person? Is that based on a real guy? I actually don't know the real story of Paul Bunyan. It's a figure I've heard about and seen my whole life, but I don't remember ever getting a book or seeing a movie about him. There's a blue ox I'm familiar with. What is the story with that? Is this just like a folk hero? Is this like what is Paul Bunyan? Is he a superhero for people that like axe play? What is this?
Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, I'm trying to be a smartass on this one, and I'm being indecisive. No, he's just a folk hero, I believe, right? I don't.
But I mean, was that? But so do we know? Was there a guy? Was there actually like some, Quebecois lumberjack who came down with a boatload of beaver pelts, and they said, "Let's just build a story around a guy like that"? Was there one guy, or was it just? Did he just? Does he paint the picture for an entire generation of men?
You got to feel like there was one guy that sort of embodied that, right? It's kind of like that King Arthur thing. I don't think there's any real definitive. It's one of those great mysteries lost to time, but maybe perhaps there was a lumberjack that stomped out the Great Lakes with his feet.
Oh, I didn't know about that part.
And ate giant flapjacks.
Then he was real.
Wait, he was that big? Holy smokes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. I got so excited right now. So when you're have some free time, Steve, I'm going to take you to the Mall of America.
Okay.
And we're going to go on the log shoot together.
Nice.
And you're going to meet Paul Bunyan and his blue ox. And you're going to see all the stuff that he does, all the things that he has to eat big giant flapjacks. He has to take big showers.
I always shower after flapjacks.
All right. You ask a silly question and you get a sensible answer. Perhaps the joke is on us, we, the Minnesotans here, and myself, been living here for most of my adult life. Historians believe Bunyan was based in large part on an actual lumberjack, Fabien Fournier, a French-Canadian timberman who moved south, got a job as a foreman of a logging crew in Michigan after the Civil War, and drifted over to Minnesota and all that stuff. Probably never had a blue ox, however. It was blue balls, I think, from being a lumberjack up there. No, not a lot of ladies in the northern timber back then.
Fabian, your pelts have they've got the feel of an animal twice their size. How did you get this ox to turn blue? I love that. Now I'm curious. I've got to get some flapjacks. I got to get a shower. I got to go on a ride, and then I got to work on my my Quebecois accent. This is a great little checklist for the day.
Yeah, you're loaded, man.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, it's funny. Until Mike Evans said that, I hadn't given a second thought. I know Paul Bunyan. It's a name I've heard my whole life, and it just dawned on me. I have no idea who that guy is. I don't know a thing about the story. I got an axe, I got an ox, and that's it. Now I feel this whole stomping out the Great Lakes thing, though, that threw me for a loop.
Yeah, no, he's got a whole bunch of those, right? And then the flapjacks that then they have to get on there with hockey skates or something like that and grease it so you can make the flapjack. There's a whole bunch of them. I've forgotten a lot of the myths,
Now, we were talking earlier about menu anxiety. Candace, if we're going to sit down and enjoy a nice breakfast and go for some flapjacks, is there a specific variety, or do you think blueberries or bananas or, oh my gosh, I don't know.
No.
Is it every day? What? What
I don't like fruit on my things. Just give me the regular.
You don't like fruit on your things?
No fruit, no nuts. Just
no fruit anywhere near your kibbles or your bits.
Just give me the classic flapjack.
You just want to flapjack some maple syrup?
Yep.
All right, maple
butter.
or the sugary crap that most people use? Or has it got to be authentic? Because once you have the authentic maple, that other sugar crap that you dump on it, no thank you. That's the stuff I grew up on, right?
Yeah, I was probably in college the first time I had actual maple syrup, and it was like, what in the hell is this?
I know. Then you look at the bottle, ingredients, maple syrup.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. I mean, nature made it for us, but somewhere along the line, we thought we could do a better job with glucose.
Yeah, my grandpa Gorman died when I was a kid, and we couldn't all go to the funeral. So 6 of the 8 Gorman kids were included. The 2 youngest, we stayed behind. And I remember I stayed back in Maryland, stayed at a friend's house, and his mom made her own spaghetti sauce. You may as well have told me she was an astronaut. I was like, what do you mean? It's ragu. You open the jar and pour it out. And I watched her chop onions and tomatoes and all this stuff. And I took one bite of that, and I literally was like angry at my mom for a month. I was like, why has no one told me this was possible? I mean, it was like I felt like it was like I was at Willy Wonka, and my mouth exploded with all these new flavors I never knew.
Welcome to a new world.
Yeah, it was incredible.
We brought up Paul Bunyan. Do we have someone setting us straight here this morning, Candace?
John from Red Wing.
John, good morning. What's up, brother?
Say, the little bit I know about Paul Bunyan and all, that he did have a girlfriend, and her name was Lucette. And I only know this because I was drinking in Menominee one day at the Lucette Brewery and asked them the reason and whatever for their name, and that's what they told me.
Loose right there in the name.
Yeah, right. Sure.
All right.
She got around that lumberjack camp, and then Paul Bunyan said, "You're coming with me, lady."
Right, and then you don't mess with Paul Bunyan's old lady.
No, and it's this. Here's the odd thing about Lucette Brewing: they don't have a TV. I tried to watch a football game there one day. In fact, the Packers, and no televisions.
Wow.
Oh, kicking it old school.
Dang ya. That's why you're asking questions like, so where'd you guys get the name?
Nothing else to do.
Enough.
Anyway.
I'm going to make an honest woman of you, Lucette. And from now on, if someone suggests something about a beaver pelt, I will chop their head off. No, sorry to push the envelope there on the morning show. So, Paul Bunyan, just to clarify, this is not anything to do with a bony bump on his foot, right? That's a whole different type of bunion?
That's a whole different thing.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for the clarification on Lucette and her origin story. We appreciate that call. Right now, there's other things to look back on and learn. How about a history lesson?
Today is special.
Today is special.
Tell me things.
Tell me things.
Steve, come up here for a second.
It is June 28th. On this day in 1976, I know where I was, and I bet you Zepp and Tony remember this as well. Monday Night Baseball used to be a thing on ABC, and at Tiger Stadium in Detroit, a guy named Mark Fidrich pitched for the Tigers for the first time on national television. His nickname was the Bird.
Yeah.
He beat the Yankees. He threw a complete game shutout, 7 hits in 9 innings. That put his record at 9-1, and it was his 9th complete game of the season.
Right.
Tiger Stadium was ablaze. The Tiger fans were going out of their minds. The Bird was the first athlete to ever grace the cover of Rolling Stone magazine after that. Mark Fidrich came second in Cy Young voting to Jim Palmer of the Orioles, but again, he came out of nowhere, led the Tigers all year round, finished with a 19-9 record, a 2.34 ERA, and then injuries to his arms and knees limited him to very few starts for the next 5 years. My man called it quits. His career record, 29-19. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's it. Wow.
he was the biggest thing in baseball for that entire bicentennial season, and it was all over as soon as it started. But the Bird, for anyone that was there, oh boy, that guy made an impact. Speaking of impact, on this day in 1997, we don't need to say much about it, but Mike Tyson took a big old bite out of Evander Holyfield's ear.
Oh, is that?
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Holy smokes, the rematch, Tyson-Holyfield. Holyfield was having his way with Mike Tyson, and Tyson said, you know what, I'm just going to spit this tooth guard out, and I'm going to take a chop out of my man's ear.
A chunk, too, man.
One of the absolutely most insane things in sporting history. Backstage after a gig, watching it with a ton of people, all in absolute disbelief. Like, we did not just see that. I mean, probably as much as any sporting event ever was the idea of, I did not just see that, right? This is not real, is it? Well done, Mike Tyson. On this day in 2012, there's a heavy metal band from Richmond, Virginia called Lamb of God. On this day in 2012, their singer was arrested in Prague in the Czech Republic, charged with manslaughter. Because 2 years earlier, when the band was playing there, a fan jumped on stage. The singer shoved him off stage. He fell, hit his head, and died.
Oh, well.
And 2 years later, after the Czech Republic was trying to have this man extradited from the U.S. with no luck, He went back to play another show and was arrested. Let me tell you something. Quick tip to all musicians. If you kill a guy and then make it back home, don't go back to the country where you killed the guy. Now, it was, of course, accident. There was a cold... By the way, he was arrested and held for 5 weeks in custody. A court did eventually say he was not responsible. He's free. Land of God continued, but... Just again, really, when someone's trying to get you to their country to face charges, don't go back and book another gig. I think this was his agent and his manager trying to get rid of him, honestly, the more I think about it.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 28th. We have been discussing menu anxiety. We all know somebody who freezes at the moment of truth when you're trying to order a meal. And we've also, oddly enough, been discussing John and Lorena Bobbitt. I don't remember even how that entered the conversation, but we all remember the Bobbitts, a loving family from Long Island, I believe, Strong Island.
Yeah.
And Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we have a caller who's got some insight into that story?
Melissa from Apple Valley.
Melissa, good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on over there in Apple Valley?
Well, I'm not in Apple Valley right now, but
Okay.
Years ago, before I was married, a bunch of girlfriends and I went to Vegas, and he was our limo driver.
Oh.
John Bobbitt was.
Yes, he was.
How does that? How do you know that? Does that just come up in conversation? By the way, I'm the guy that had his what?
No. No, I am somebody who recognizes voices and faces really well.
Wow. Oh,
and
wow.
So we're sitting in there, and I looked up at the cab license, his little, cab license thing, and I was looking at him thinking, you look familiar. And he was, not bad looking then, dark hair, nice looking, and I'm looking at his thing, and I'm telling my girlfriends, I'm like, that's the guy. That's the guy. His wife's going to They're like, no. And finally, they were like, ask him. And it's like, well, sure. Wow. Nobody else would ask him. I would.
Sure.
So I asked him, and he was like, yeah, that's me. It's like, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow. How's it hanging? No.
And good driver, steady at the wheel?
Odd. I will say odd.
He was an odd driver? I mean, it just had an odd feeling. Was it weird being around?
I don't know that you come back from something like that.
Was he shifting in his seat? Was it hard for him to get comfortable? Did you get that vibe from him?
Well, yeah, readjusting things,
Sure. Yeah. Well, they say that you have phantom feelings. You know what I mean? Like you lose a limb like that, you still think it's there. Yeah, I can totally understand how that would go.
Yeah.
So was it just one trip, or did you book him throughout the? Was it just one time in his car?
No, once was enough. Once was enough.
Wow, man. So, but okay, good trip to Vegas overall.
Overall, yes.
No,
I was
great.
single then, so yeah.
Yeah. Did you say it was a bachelorette party? No, it wasn't?
No, just a bunch of girls going to Vegas.
Oh, I thought maybe it was one of those bachelorette parties where the girl had like the penis necklaces on and the earrings and everything, and he might have thought he was being mocked or something.
Would have made him cry.
No, see, back then, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't a thing back then. But he did get into pornography. Right after that.
Wow.
Remember, he got reattached and he did some porn movies. He got paid
come
a lot
on, really?
Yeah, no, really. He paid a lot of money. He was in
it worked?
several porn.
Wouldn't you like to see the scars, though?
Not in person,
No.
I wouldn't, but thought maybe that's where you recognized him.
I'll tell you straight up, I don't want to see it, and I'm darn getting pretty uncomfortable just talking about it. Honestly, just starting to kind of turn my stomach a little bit.
Mm.
Okay. I had a second point, and then I've got to go in here and get some injections in my eyes. But,
speaking of comfortable topics.
Yeah, injections in my eyes. The thing about Babe the Blue Ox.
Yeah, please.
Babe was a baby ox that was an orphan, and Paul Bunyan found it frozen in the snow, and that's why it was blue. And he saved it, and that's why she went with him everywhere.
Mm.
Wow. And so Babe the Blue Ox so Babe bit Paul Bunyan's joint off. Yeah. Is that? Oh, no. Sorry, I'm confusing stories again. My bad. Okay,
use
well,
the
listen,
axe.
hey, have a great time with those eyeball injections. Thanks for the
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And it's
I
a
will.
pleasure to chat with you, dear. Thanks.
You bet. Thank you. Bye-bye.
List of morning show calls. A woman who spent time with John Bobbitt, whose Bobbitt was removed and reattached, and then is on her way to eye injections. That's top shelf right there. That's a lot of information.
Living the life, isn't she?
Man, no question about it. And what about the fact, I love how she said, well, I recognize faces and voices. And, I'm just keep those things in mind. I was reminded of, and I think I may have told this story once before, but I was at a bar in Atlanta once, and my buddy Mac came back from the bathroom, and he goes, man, Ace Frehley is in the bathroom. And I said, no way, you just saw Ace Frehley? And he goes, well, no, but I heard him speaking, and I know it was him. And I said, what did he say? Hey, I'm Ace Frehley from Kiss, washing my hands. He goes, no, he was just talking with a guy, but I know what he sounds like. And I thought, this is in the 80s, by the way. I was like, who knows what Ace Frehley sounds like? And it was Ace Frehley. He walked right by us a minute later, and we all got his autograph. But I'll never forget that. No, I didn't see him, but I heard him.
That is weird because he was, I don't know, I wouldn't say he was my favorite member of KISS when I was growing up, but I was always stuck being Ace Frehley, which is a good thing during Halloween, those 3 Halloweens.
Sure.
Me and my 3 buddies went as KISS, and he only had like one line. And remember Phantom at the Park. Phantom at the Park. That's
like
right. The KISS
at an
movie.
amusement park. Yeah.
That's right. The Phantom at the amusement park. KISS. He had one line in that movie. Yeah, you're right. There just wasn't a lot of audio of Ace, and he's got that really shrill, like you said, New York accent.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Phantom of the Park. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody can double check this. If I'm not mistaken, co-starring Terry Lester, who went on to be known as Jack Abbott from The Young and the Restless later in life. If you're wondering how completely cobwebbed my brain is, that's a good indication. Why do I know, A, the name of the actor who played Jack Abbott, and B, why do I know that he was in Phantom of the Park? That is mind-boggling to me. Sometimes I amaze myself with how precious little important information I've retained over the years. Candace, do we have another caller on some Bobbitt junk?
Literally.
Yeah. Jim from Columbia Heights.
Jim, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Oh, boy. I like the way you say that. What have you got for us?
So back in the 90s, and this was 6 months after he had had his member chopped off.
Right.
I worked for a large video rental chain. It was based out of the Twin Cities, and we were at a dinner at the East Coast Video Show. Well, somebody at the table knew somebody, and John Wayne Bobbitt was with them, and they walked up, and there's Bobbitt. And we're kind of all just a little starstruck because it's Bobbitt and all the news that had been out there about him.
Yeah.
So we're having a conversation, and suddenly the guy takes it out.
Okay,
oh, come on,
John. Hey, now. I was just going to ask the question, when you first meet John Wayne Bobbitt, do you just instinctively, you go for a crotch gaze, don't you? But you didn't. I mean, he led with it. Wow.
He honestly, they're standing there for maybe a minute or two, and all of a sudden he just takes it out. Now, in front of him is the CEO of the company. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, this could not have happened to a better guy.
Was he right in front of him?
I've seen it post reattachment. It is not something I need to see again.
So it's sort of mangled. It's not pretty. It's not like that little bikini line scar some women have from the C-section. You can barely see it. It's noticeable.
It kind of takes a left turn.
Ah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, yeah.
We are touching upon just at the base level of every man's genetic code. Yeah. This is incredibly uncomfortable. It's just nothing stirs the soul quite like thinking about what this guy went through. But then again, to your point, if everywhere you go, you're that guy, you're hey, how's the Bobbitt swinging, Bobbitt? I get it. Eventually you're going to be like, screw it. Everybody's talking about it. Here you go. Yeah. But of course, I would hope that if that were me, by the time I find myself whipping it out at a dinner in the Twin Cities for a bunch of people I've never even met, I would hope that would give me the idea that maybe it's time to just go out to a farm.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to spend some time in the woods. Maybe I need to get a Walt Whitman book, maybe pick up some Leaves of Grass and just go think about living a little bit more deliberately. How about that? Maybe a little more introspection.
A shack out in Montana somewhere, settle in. Might be a nice way to go. Wouldn't you get, if you were him, and I get it, it's like, everybody, are you staring at my crotch? Everyone you meet is just going to give you you're just going to start whipping it out. I mean, the guy's kind of a weirdo to begin with, and then that's psychological trauma. But wouldn't you get that Dirk Diggler prosthetic?
Of course.
Just wear that around all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here, boom, and just pull out a foot and a half of swinging death.
Put like a little hat on it, some decorative item.
Right, exactly.
Make it fun.
Or a little red nose and a mustache and the glasses. You know what I mean? Just
and
something.
What would you say to the doc? Hey, doc, thanks. Really appreciate you getting it back on, but it's left. It goes left. You couldn't have, got her on there straight.
I can't. I tell you what. I mean, there are times like this when I get up and I just say, thank God I'm still using the joint I was born with. You know what I mean? It's the same one. I've had it my whole life. I've never had it. It's never been unattached. It's never been reattached. No. We're just one smooth machine here. No breaks, no bruises, no cuts, no gashes.
So far.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, every day is a day closer to maybe that happening. I'm just hoping. I'm on a good run right now. I'm going to be 58 in a couple months and still intact. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
You're home free now. Our marriage proposal story here segment got hijacked by Bobbitt. You never know where these things are going to come from.
Listen, let me tell you something right now. I think we can all agree. When you get not one but two callers who've spent time with John Bobbitt, you're going to push whatever plans you had. The best plans we make, God, or in this case, John Bobbitt and his unwillfully detached penis get right in the way.
Frankenweenie.
Bobbitt says, ha. That's a play I'm going to write one of these days. As the summer rolls along, we are coming to the back end of wedding season. May and June, the two biggest months for weddings in the United States. It's been that way for many a long year now. It's just the time of year when people decide to get hitched. But before you get hitched, there's the proposal, generally speaking. In the old days, it was the guy gets permission from the father, drops down to one knee, there's a ring, there's tears. We all know what proposals used to be. Now they're very different. Over the last few decades, people have thrown out the rule book, if you will. But there's one proposal I want to discuss, and then we'll open this up, because I know there's a lot of stories out there about sideways proposals, wedding disasters, generally speaking. But I got to get everyone's thoughts on this one. Okay, I'm all for spur-of-the-moment proposals. I'm all for just suddenly realizing this is the time. The sunset it's perfect. I had no idea it would be so beautiful, and I'm going to ignore the mosquitoes, and by God, I'm going to ask her to marry me. Whatever the situation is, sometimes the moment is just too big to ignore. However, this is one I do take exception to. A man surprised his girlfriend the other day by proposing on a plane. Now, before you get too carried away, they were traveling somewhere together. It was their first flight maybe, or she was afraid to fly and he comforted her, and then they had a breakthrough and then he realized that was the moment, or vice versa, or whatever. No, none of that. The guy had this plan. I want to propose on this plane. And he figured, I'm going to get some of the other passengers to help. I'll get them involved. I'll let them know what's going on. I'll have them hold up signs that say things like, will you marry me? I'll ask some other passengers who I don't know. I'll ask if they'll videotape this on their phone and send me the footage. I'll make sure it's special. And then just to top it all off, I know the exact perfect time. I'll wait till she's in the bathroom on the plane to set this up. This guy literally set all this up while his girlfriend was in the bathroom. She opens the bathroom door. Imagine this. You're on a plane. You're in the bathroom. You're doing one of two things, maybe a third. I don't know. But none of them are necessarily heartwarming, certainly not romantic, unless you kind of, swing from that side of the fence. None of these things really imply love and romance at its base form. She steps out of the bathroom, an airplane lavatory, which on its best day is nasty.
Nasty.
She opens the door and steps out to see her boyfriend kneeling with a ring.
Right outside the door.
Strangers with their phones videoing this exchange.
Weird.
I mean, now if he knew that he was going to be arrested as soon as the plane touched down, okay, maybe. But can you imagine what goes through someone's mind? What do you say when you step out of an airplane bathroom and someone says you want to spend the rest of your? I mean, in one hand, he's saying, "Look, you stunk up an airplane bathroom, and I still love you."
Yeah. What if she just came out and it just reeked, and her gut's not feeling so good? Either they were going somewhere, flying for a lot of people, aggravates the bowels. No. And everyone's staring at you.
Bowels.
Well, it does. I mean, it's, it can. Okay. We were talking about that this week, a little anxiety. And exiting the airport bathroom, you want to do it like you've never even, like you're getting away with something. And I'm just going to sneak out and go back to my seat. And for whatever reason, but everyone's recording you and he's on one knee. Dude, where were you coming from? Where were you going? It had to be a better place than on one knee as soon as she swings the door open.
Honest to God, I've never been in a taxi cab that would be less preferable. That would that I would say I'll do an airplane bathroom over this. Wherever that's your point. Wherever that plane's going to land, whatever vehicle you're going to be in next, whatever hotel room you're going to be in, whatever bridge over a polluted river you're going to walk, whatever. I can't imagine this would be the place. Or am I just a cynic? Is romance, and any place you ask is perfect? Candace, you're very quiet over there. I got to get your thoughts on this. You're in an airplane bathroom. You step out, and a man says, "This is the moment." Could you even imagine? Would you kick him in the nuts?
No, I'd just probably laugh. I'm easygoing.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it depends on if you really want to marry the guy or not. I'm thinking he's doing it to confuse her a little bit. He's not sure if he's going to get a yes or not. Maybe I'll catch her with her pants down. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah, what he's thinking. Yeah. Guys blow this all the time. Thanks, KQ listeners, for stepping up. Here's one from Kim. Had a coworker get proposed to over the intercom at work at a nursing home. No.
Oh,
no, don't do that. Yeah.
Nursing home.
I'm not a fan of the public, the ball game or at the, when people do that and put me on the Jumbotron and we'll see, just because, it's like that. I would like to think that's a more personal moment for you and your to be engaged person. At the same time, it is important to take a page from an old lawyer. They say never ask a question in court that you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm always curious about guys who ask that question without a 95% degree of certainty to what the answer is going to be. Like when I proposed to Rosemary, there was not a doubt in my mind she would say yes. We had discussed it. Like, what do you think? I mean, maybe that, and there was a moment that we needed to have, but I mean, I would have been blindsided if she'd said no. And it seems to me that a lot of people don't go in with nearly as much confidence, nearly as much sense of this is going to go the way I want. So, I mean, I the only thing I can say is at least she said yes. So he's gotten away with this.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe I'm just too cold. I'm just jaded after all these years.
I think the airplane guy is kind of cute. And look at all the versions of videos and pictures they'll have to remember that special occasion.
I guess that's true. Candace, do we have a caller? I need someone to shed some light on this.
All right, Jason from Prior Lake.
Jason, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's happening?
Well, I had called my in-laws back about 10 years ago and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and wanted to get your permission to ask your daughter to marry me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my mother-in-law on the phone, and she said, you should call Ron. And I called Ron, and like, hey, it's Jason. Just want to go ahead and ask you, you okay to ask your daughter Heather to marry me? We're going to be down in Dominican. And pause happens, and he goes, who is this? Like, Ron, you've known me for like about 2 years.
Yeah.
And you are?
Come again?
Right.
Now, was he just having you on? Was he pulling your leg, or was he literally confused as to who you were?
He had a little bit of a hard time hearing me, he said.
Oh, okay. He was freezing you, man. He wouldn't give you it out in case you said, never mind, wrong number, and hung up. But yeah, you stuck with it. Yeah, all right.
Sometimes when I'm not sure how to respond, I go with the whole, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said. What was that? I'm guilty as charged of that one myself.
The guts to repeat it. I love that. That's pretty cool.
Did everything work out, Jason? Did you marry this gal?
Yeah, we got 10-year anniversary coming up in October and 2 little boys. So.
Well, in your face, Ron.
Right.
Fair enough. All right, well done, Jason. Well done, sir. Thanks for the call.
Here's one on the KQ Facebook page from Brooke. We call this a South Dakota proposal. My dad proposed to my mom by putting her ring in his Copenhagen dip can and asking her to pass it to him. Pulled it out of the chew. Here you go, sweetie. Would you be mine for life?
Man.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. That's good.
That's pretty strong. On the Facebook page, Hannah wrote, my dad used to work as a performer on the Minnesota Zephyr, the train.
Yeah.
I recall him telling a story about a proposal at one of the tables, but the woman said no.
Ooh.
Since the train has a 6-mile route that goes 4 miles per hour, the couple was stuck on it together and could not leave until the ride was over.
Awkward.
Keep sitting there.
Again, guys, you got to do a little research before you ask that question.
Yeah, no.
Tony Lee, you have proposed to a woman who said yes. Did you drop down to one knee?
I did. It was adorable, but it's funny. We dated for 6 years, but I was still nervous. I had it in my pocket, but it was in Cancun, under the moonlight, on the beach, bottle of champagne, couple big Cuban cigars. But her answer, though, there was a big pause, and she just went, "Okay."
Oh,
it's like, well, that wasn't so moving. Yeah, I guess that was kind of a yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because when I first met Rachel, I said, "Hey, can you pass the salt?" And she went, okay.
Yes.
So I think that's just how she says yes.
Yeah.
So that's good. Okay. She loves
that's a
salt.
good thing.
Yeah, that's how she answers the big decisions. I love it.
And now it's all good though. So you can't hold anything against a woman who takes a moment to really, okay, wait, this is actually happening. Here we are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with this.
Right.
Yeah, probably more sincere than just an enthusiastic yes, just so she can get to the champagne and cigars.
Oh,
we do.
You.
We do have another caller.
Ryan from Rice.
Ryan, good morning.
Brian.
Oh, Brian, excuse me.
Yep.
What's up, Brian?
So we were at Applebee's in St. Cloud, my wife and her best friend having some dinner, and across the way there were 3-4 tables of family members. And this guy decides to announce in front of all of Applebee's, got everybody's attention, to propose to his girlfriend in front of everybody.
Uh-oh.
And he denied him, and he took off crying, running out of the building, across the vision and everything. Didn't hop in his car, nothing, just took off, crying and running across the street. She sat there. And what should I do? And everybody's like, go after him. And
no.
we just sat there with our mouths open like, oh, my God, she said no.
I've never seen a no. That would be exciting. Yeah, right. And you don't have to go after the guy.
No, I'm team her all the way. You ask that you get everyone's attention, you get a room full of strangers to get involved, and then you're told no, and you run away crying. Good riddance, man.
Yeah.
Take it like, they say, take it like a man. Stand there and go, well, I apologize if I've made you uncomfortable. And then leave with a shred of dignity, for God's sake.
Or just sit down and finish your riblets.
No kidding. You don't walk away from Applebee's chicken wings.
Well, you walk away before the check comes, maybe. That's how you get, there's that back. Take that for your no.
That's a hell of a way to get out of paying a tab. I've never thought about it before.
I was wondering, maybe he was buying everybody's dinner and said, screw this. She said, no, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm paying for this.
Or even better, maybe he realized my mouth is bigger than my wallet. I can't afford this. And I know she doesn't want to marry me, so this will be my out. Maybe that was just performance art as it happened.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Brian, thank you for the call, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
Hey, check this out. 92 KQRS would love you to win a guitar signed by Kansas. Plus, of course, tickets to their show Friday, July 14th at the State Theater. Send us a video of your most entertaining guitar solo that is 92 seconds or less. We'll play some of the best on the KQ Morning Show and pick our favorite to win an autographed guitar and tickets to see Kansas. See complete contest rules and get yourself entered at 92kqrs.com.
All right, we'll keep things cooking along here. Vivica A. Fox certainly is our guest at 8:30 here at 8 o'clock, though. We need 2 callers on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Trust Us for a chance to win tickets to Bryan Adams Monday at the Excel Energy Center, prize provided by Live Nation. Our runner-up, we choose now, don't we?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. We leave it to the winner. That's one, Bryan Adams tickets on Monday. Or would you rather join us on the 92 KQRS Rock the Boat 80s Party, Friday, July 21st with Paddleford Riverboats. Join us for free food from Lucky's 13 Pub, live music from Rough House, and drinks on the river. Prize provided by Paddleford Riverboats. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Good morning. It's already been a whirlwind here at the KQ Morning Show. We've had John and Lorena Bobbitt conversations. We've had calls from people who've seen John Bobbitt.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've seen the Bobbitt as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about marriage proposals on airplanes, not just on airplanes, but right outside the airplane lav, as they say, right outside the airplane bathroom. We've discussed all manner of important societal, storylines today. But nothing that we've done is nearly as important as giving away some tickets. We've got a couple of cool things coming up here soon. We've got Bryan Adams Monday at the XL Energy Center. He of the Summer of 69 will be performing along with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. We've got tickets to see that concert. We've also got tickets to the 92 KQRS Rock the Boat 80s Party. And we're about to play a little game with 2 listeners, and the winner gets to pick what they want to do. And then the runner-up will have the other. Isn't that nice? We're givers here on the KQ Morning Show. This is very exciting. Don't laugh at me, Candace. I'm setting a table.
You're right.
Setting a banquet table.
Yeah, this is going to be really nice.
It is going to be really nice. And in order to do that, we're going to make these folks work for it. Tony, we're going to play a game today. Please help us all. What game are we playing?
It's a way to get to know us better in many ways.
Why should I believe you?
Why should I believe you?
You can trust us.
I hope you'll trust us.
Trust us.
Let's find out if you'll trust us.
Now, why should I trust you?
Why? Why should I trust you?
Come on. You up. You trusted us.
Yeah, are we reliable? Are we straightforward? Are we even interesting? Well, that's debatable, but we'll let you, dear listeners, decide. We're going to make a statement of some sort, and you get to guess, is that true or false about us?
I like it. We can fake sincerity with the best of them. Candace, who is contestant number 1?
Jeff from Richfield.
Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gorman. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Are you ready to play Trust Us?
Yes.
Oh, okay, he's already laughing. We're off on the right foot. He knows we're completely full of crap. All right, Tony's going to lead the game. Good luck, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone who would prefer to go first?
I'd say ladies first. Candace?
Oh, good move.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Pressure's on. Don't get menu anxiety now.
I'm so nervous. Okay, this probably explains why I'm so obsessed with him. In 2004, when I was 13, my mom and I met Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne in New York City.
True or false?
Wow. Jeff?
True.
Oh, me. Is that true or false, Candice?
No, I wish it was true. But if you go to the KQ Facebook page, you'll see a picture. It was actually my mom and I in New York City in 2004, but we were at the House of Wax Museum posing with them.
Dag nabbit.
How could you tell?
It looks real, man. Check
That's what
it
I'm
out.
saying. Oh.
Sorry.
I thought Jeff was. I just figured he was deliberating, going back and forth in his head on that one. All right, so okay, 0 for 1. That's all right. You still got 3 more chances.
All right.
We're gonna stick it. We're gonna stay with Jeff here. So Tony, why don't you go ahead?
I'll go, and then Mr. Z, and then Mr. Gorman will bat last.
Perfect.
All right, sir. An hour after getting my driver's license, I got a ticket for speeding and having 12 people in the car. True or false?
Can I ask what kind of car you were driving?
Nope, that might give it away.
Is it possible to get 12 people in a car? I'm going to go with false.
I am sorry. It was my dad's 1965 Galaxy 500 going over the Ford Bridge, speeding.
You could fit
12 people in the car.
A couple in the trunk, yeah.
Wow,
No, nobody in the trunk.
All right.
There was a Galaxy 500 in the Gorman household for a while, too. Yeah, you can get a lot of Gormans into a Galaxy 500.
Yeah, we had one of my first cars was an old 72 Caprice Classic. That thing was a block long. I love it. Yeah, no kidding.
So, Tony, this was an hour after you got your license?
Yes. Harold was not happy with his son.
Still the king, Tony Lee. All right, Jeff. Jeff, you have a chance to rebound. You're 0 for 2. Zep is up.
All right.
True or false, Zep? Lay it on us.
All right, Jeff. I was born a hermaphrodite, both male and female sex organs. My parents, now listen, this is serious. My parents made the decision to have the ovaries removed and name me Brian instead of Brianna.
He's laughing. That's cruel.
Yeah, wow. It hurts my feelings.
I'm going with false.
It is actually false.
Wow.
That didn't happen,
I was waiting to see if it was true.
I was checking.
Literally leaning forward in my chair.
Right.
I need a sound bite though forever of just simply those words coming out of your mouth. I was born a hermaphrodite. That was sounded like Dan Rather on the CBS Evening News back in the day. It was so official. Oh man, that was great. All right, let's see, Jeff. Here we go. I won the fastest typist award in 11th grade for my school. I was typing over 80 words a minute.
Well, having taken typing, and you and I are about the same age, I'm going with false.
I'm sorry, sir. That's absolutely true.
Oh, man.
I know.
I was a typing wizard. It helps to be as OCD laden as I was back in those days.
How do you?
I walked up. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I took typing in high school because I had a hot typing teacher. And Candace, she was gone by the time you were there. But
no.
It's one of the most useful classes I actually ever took.
Are you sure she was gone by the time I was there? Because we did have a really hot teacher. And I can't think of her name.
Mrs. You remember?
No.
There was a whole fleet of them, apparently.
Yeah,
Wow.
Richfield.
Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for letting me play.
Well, hang on. You're not done yet.
Yeah. I mean, you stunk it up, but you might not have lost.
I'd like to say for the record, I did not have a hot typing teacher. I had a guy named Mr. Anderson who was a Vietnam vet, rode motorcycles, and wore a ton of leather.
Yeah. He was a typing teacher. I had to take typing class because the football coach I think that was the only class he taught, but he made it mandatory for all the football players.
Another thing he would do, he wanted us to be able to focus. And so literally you would be doing a timed typing test and he would throw the chalkboard erasers at you.
Funny.
To keep you to make and like you if you like what he'd say it was pretty intense. So yeah, a lot of great typists coming out of that school. A lot of traumatized great typists coming out of that school.
Did you have the drill of? Did you have to do the 3 did feed the deer over and over and over?
All those things. It was so many things I typed over relentlessly. It was brutal. And like I said though, for a kid like me, as OCD as I was in those years. It was like throwing a fish into a pond, putting me in front of a typewriter. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, Jeff, thanks. You went 1 for 4, which all is not lost, however. Sometimes we're really good at BSing our listeners, as you just heard. So let's see how you do. Contestant number 2, Candace, who we got?
All right, we have Jay from Little Canada.
Jay, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play Trust Us?
Yes, I am.
All right, very good. You know the rules. We're going to say something, and you just say basically yes or no, true or false, and we'll go in the same order. Candace, take it away.
Okay, one time when I was in LA, the famous ex-Playboy model, wife of Gene Simmons, Shannon Tweed, complimented my necklace and had me open it. Locket.
Your necklace?
Locket necklace.
They just really fall off
true or
after
false?
Candace, don't they? And
Jay, did Shannon Tweed compliment Candace's necklace? Yes or no? True or false?
False.
She did, actually. She loved it. And I opened it. And
she
it was a
did
picture
love it.
of my mom. And then we talked about our moms, and she was very nice.
Well, that's excellent.
Yes.
It's amazing.
That's a beautiful
I
story.
feel bad. I fool everyone, and no one gets to win anything with me, huh?
Did
Just a
Gene
mystery.
walk up and did Gene come up to you and say, "Will you join us in our marital bed, Candace?"
right.
Anything like that?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, just wondering. All right, Jay, 0 for 1. All is not lost by a long shot. So we're going to move on to Tony Lee.
All right, Jay, here's the tale. My first radio job gave away holiday party prizes, and I won a trip to Colombia, South America, where I met a sexy Latina and had cocktails, dancing, and a romantic evening. And that young lass was singing sensation Shakira. True or false?
False.
Yeah,
Yes.
unlike Shakira's hips,
Yeah.
Tony lies.
Yeah, that was a big lie.
Wow.
Big fantasy, but
Yeah,
a lie.
I was going to say, if that was true and you haven't told me that all the years we've known each other, I have no friend.
Shakira.
I'm you know what I am? I'm like under the, when I look at Tony Lee and I just see a paragon of virtue. I can't imagine that anything he says isn't true. So I was sitting here going, damn, I got to get the full version of this one after the show.
That's my boy.
Man, that's awesome. All right, so you're 1 for 2, Jay. Zepp, take it away.
Jay, years ago, I was riding in a hot air balloon that crashed into a cornfield, and I seriously thought for a moment that I was going to die. True or false?
True.
Yeah, it happened.
Woo!
Down in Iowa. Then the balloon, it was filling up with corn. It went down into the cornfield, and all I kept hearing was the pilot going, whoop, 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 whoop,
Oh,
whoop. I'm
no.
like, no. We crash into the cornfield. It falls on its side and starts dragging the basket, and
Oh.
it starts filling up with corn stalks. And I thought, that, for a moment, I thought, this is how I'm going to die. Suffocating corn stalks. What a punchline in my life. And then the balloon popped back up, gained a little altitude, crashed down again in a field. Everyone was okay. But yeah, that truly happened.
Hey, free corn, though.
And Zepp's
Yeah.
never eaten corn since.
No way.
Wow, that would be a tough way to go. I mean, it's one thing to have like a silo, like the guy in Witness, get dumped on you, but just getting suffocated in a hot air balloon, whatever you call
Basket,
that gondola
right? Yeah.
basket. Jeez, oh Pete. Jay, you're 2 for 3. That means you're already the winner, but we've got to, for official contest rules, we've got to complete this. So I'm going to throw a line at you. You tell me if this is true or false. Now, I am not by any stretch a great bowler, but I have one time in my life knocked down a 7-10 split.
True.
I'm sorry, sir, that is false.
I'm a bowler too, and I know I couldn't do it, but oh well.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. You still went 2 for 4, Jay, which means you win today's contest as Jeff went 1 for 4. Now you have a choice to make. Do you want to go see Bryan Adams at the XL Energy Center on Monday night, or do you want to join us on the 92 KQRS Rock the Boat 80s party on Friday, July 21st?
Let's do the boat trip.
Attaboy. Jay's going to join us on the boat, which means, Jeff, you have won tickets to see Bryan Adams at the XL Energy Center. Congratulations, both gentlemen.
Thank you.
You got it.
I don't imagine I could get boat trip tickets also, could I? Instead of
They're only $25 on the
Yeah.
KQ website. And you better be there and represent Richfield.
I have to meet you anyway.
Groovy.
Okay. Oh, the Richfield alums have their own section of the boat now? Great.
Sing your fight song.
Fair enough. All right, thank you,
have a
guys.
nice
We
day.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yep, that's fantastic work. Thank you. By the way, I've just realized something, and I have to come clean, and I hope this doesn't. We don't have to go back and open up that contest again. I said that I won the typist award at over 80 words a minute, and I don't know why I said 80. I think I typed it was 60 words a minute. It was over 60. It was not.
Changes
Oh,
every
my
day.
God.
Snake.
I really no. I'm a stickler for this, and somewhere in the back of my brain, I can hear Mr. Anderson saying, "You think you're good? You're not that good. You're not that good at all."
If I had an eraser in my hand, oof.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
You know what?
And by the way,
Actually,
someone
sorry.
out there listening was like 80. No way, and you were right. There was no way, but it was over 60 words a minute. That part is very true.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. No, I'm telling you, I was Johnny Grease Lightning on that keyboard.
There's some kid that just recently broke it. I remember it weirded me out because there was a teenager that broke the typing on a typewriter, no less.
I wonder what that record was.
I'm gonna look it up.
In a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Vivica A. Fox, an actor of note who's got an awesome new true crime series to tell us all about. We're going to enjoy that conversation. But in the meantime, let's put a button on something we discussed in the last segment. That is my typing career, my illustrious typing career as a high school student. I went over 60 words a minute. I got a certificate to prove it. It was framed. My mom was proud. But, boy, that's not anywhere near a world record, is it?
No, this little freak of nature, 16 years old. I don't even have his name. I forget the handle he goes by, but I do have the audio as the 16-year-old broke the world record with 300 words per minute.
I am excited to announce that I finally hit 300 words per minute on 15 seconds. I've been trying for this for ages. I hope you enjoy it.
No way.
How accurate is it?
Accurate.
Oh, shoot!
I think
You got to be fully accurate or they don't give you the credit for it. I had to have 60 plus words without any misspellings to get that's 300 a minute.
That's mind-boggling. I mean, that's I don't know. Can he monetize that? Let's
You know
hope
what that sounded like? That sounded like, remember the old track and field video game in the 80s?
Yeah.
When you just pound those buttons to get the guys to run faster and jump. It'd be like, grrr, and then you had to time the jump button perfectly. So it was always like, grrr.
Trying for this for ages.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I hope you enjoy it.
That's incredible.
I mean, I can't. If I wasn't trying to type anything.
Shoot!
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, I can't just do that using all 10 fingers on the board. I can't make it go that fast just doing gibberish typing.
Yeah, right. He's going to be the best office assistant ever.
Man, can you imagine? What I mean, his friends must think he's the coolest guy in school.
What friends? You don't get to 300 words a minute and have friends. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
that's a good point. That's a lot. It used to be you'd sit in your basement with a guitar. Now it's 300 words a minute. All right, on to bigger and better things. The Interrogation Room is a new series hosted by Vivica A. Fox, and she joins us on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Vivica. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the support today.
Okay, so everybody, it seems, is a true crime fan. My wife is an obsessive true crime fan. We all know folks that love this, but you're going in deep. You've got a 10-episode series, The Interrogation Room, and this is really a compelling component. We all think we can get away with anything, but then when you watch what happens when people get in that room with the camera and the detective sits across from them, that's where it all goes sideways, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's what is great about this show is, as you said, going inside of the interrogation room and to see how these very skilled detectives and investigators break down the criminal who, like you said, they all think that they can get away with it, but they break them down with wonderful skill and tactics to get that confession.
Yeah, my wife has watched a series on YouTube where guys, it's all about body language. This one particular show that's got to be a part of this, I would imagine, as well.
That's a huge element of the show is to watch the people, the suspected criminal, who's perpetrated the crime, to see them come in at first and how they just think they're going to be slick and talk their way out of it. The best thing I like is that when they offer them like something to drink, first when they come in there's no water, there's no nothing, and they kind of get them squirming a little bit, and it's like, okay, they're getting there, how to see their body language, how they'll move in on the criminal, talking with them, getting them more comfortable, making them feel like they're their friend. They can talk to them about anything if they want to say why it went sideways and is it the person's fault, the victim's fault, the tactics that they use. But then how they'll go, oh, would you like something to drink? And then they let them sit there and kind of marinate, and they always kind of forget that that they're being taped. And they let them. I call it the marinating. They just marinate a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back in and, hey, you want something to drink? Is there anything that's come to mind that you want to talk about? And it's just a slow breakdown that's truly, there's an art to it.
Do they use that good cop, bad cop thing, or was that just a movie TV concoction? Is that something they still use or ever used?
No, that's definitely one of their tactics as well. That one person will be kind of hard and the other person will be more compassionate.
Vivica, have you talked to these detectives or interrogators? Have you ever heard of a story where, or I guess what I'm asking is, did they get a sense immediately? I mean, do they have to have, after years of experience, an immediate, like, I can tell this person's innocent or guilty in the case? Are they then trying to convince themselves on or off of a thing, or do you think they really give it all the time before they reach a conclusion?
They've done their homework, that's for sure. Most of the time when they bring a suspect in, it's because they suspect them of being the person who perpetrated the crime. So they've definitely done their homework, but it's getting that confession, so that then they can take them to trial and get them to get justice for the victim. That is what is so intriguing and going to make the show interesting and different. Got 10 episodes. Some of the cases, I'm going to tell you, they really stuck with me, and they move you because it's like, dang, like this 8-year-old little girl that had disappeared. That one would just tugged at your heartstrings, like, wow, who could do that to a kid? And she was such a cute little kid too.
Sure.
And there's another case with the African American young man that was killed. His father, his testimony about how he won't get to see his son, graduate, get married, have his first kid. That one's kind of like, wow, life interrupted. So cases are riveting and very, very interesting.
Sure. No, I was going to ask what you just answered. I'm sure diving into this as someone who's interested in this, that's one thing, but to sit with it the way you just did, you're not quite on the level of these hardened detectives, but I imagine that was a bit of an emotional ride. You have to spend a lot more time with these cases. This might sound like a weird question, but as an actor, is there anything that you've learned about body language, about the human, condition, about people in situations that you might be able to or have thought about maybe applying in a future role?
Oh, my goodness. Well, definitely. I mean, if I was to play a detective and, bringing them in to interrogate them, absolutely. I liked how it was like I said, they would start kind of across the table from them, and then they would just kind of like slowly move in. They could tell when the people started squirming a little bit, how they just move in to get them comfortable. They kind of they intrude their space a little bit, just to like, hey, I'm your friend. Talk to me. Tell me.
Wow. Yeah.
What really happened?
Do you, if I show you footage of an interrogation that you've never seen after you've spent so much time with us now, when you're looking at the suspect, are you looking for specific physical things they do? Are there any telltale signs that you would be looking for, more so than what they say, but how they move their body, or any tics?
Absolutely. The rubbing the hands through the hair, it is definitely a lot, and the rubbing of the hands together, kind of like, it's the squirming and stuff. That's definitely when they're starting to get uncomfortable about telling the truth.
I'm thinking about my daughter right now, who goes to her hair all the time. I bet parents could learn something about interrogating their kids the interrogation room. This sounds gripping, Vivica. It starts streaming on all the major platforms July 1st here.
Yes, it does. This Saturday. If you want to find out more information about, go to FilmRise, filmrise.com/true crime. And every Saturday, like I said, we're dropping a new one, and we got 10 episodes coming your way starting this Saturday.
Right on. Vivica A. Fox, it is a pleasure, and I wish you all the best with the interrogation room and whatever you've got. Anything you can share beyond this that you've got in the works?
Oh yeah, your girl's been working lately. I've got I've directed a film that's going to be coming out in October called The First Lady of Black Mafia Family, the Tanisha Welch story. I directed that. I've got a Christmas movie that's going to be coming out. I just completed a film directed by Jesse Smollett, my nephew from Empire. Stay tuned. That's going to be very interesting to see his comeback and his directing. I love him so very much. Let me see what else I got coming out. The Vivica Fox Hair Collection for all my girls out there. Great hair that's dropping. I had to put that in, okay?
I love it. Man, our girl has been working.
Not only do I act, direct, and host, I also I'm in the hairline business as well, too.
Man.
And, so lots of stuff that's coming out. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Projects that are going to be coming out that are all
that's amazing. Well, we look forward to that. All roads, for me, where you're concerned, lead back to Genoa City. I'm a lifelong Young and the Restless guy.
Oh, wow. That's kind of where the jump-off did happen. Led to Independence Day, led to a whole bunch of stuff, but started there in Genoa City for sure.
You know it. All right, Vivica, thanks so much for taking the time. We'll talk to you soon, I hope.
No doubt. I appreciate the love and support. You guys have a great day.
See ya.
I'm seriously thinking about all the times my daughter played with her hair when I was talking to her about stuff.
Yeah, and I'm serious. There's a thing on YouTube. Every time there's a big trial going on, there's these like 4 dudes that sit around and analyze people on the witness stand, but then also these interrogation rooms, and it's all about body language. But they were going deep on the the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. They were looking at the two of them and breaking down the most minute things people do. And they won't say that they're 100% accurate, but they're darn close. And I'm having these conversations where, my wife's like, hey, look at this. And she opens her laptop and she's showing, isn't this fascinating? And the whole time, all I'm thinking is, she's going to use this all against me. This is all going to blow back in my face. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't even threatened to kill anybody. I'm just being me. Just walking through life, and suddenly it's like, why did you peel the banana with your left hand? I don't even know. Because my right hand smelled like Chauncey's poop. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
There's nothing nefarious going on. I got weird stuff on my fingertips. It smelled. I don't have an answer.
I think those people that go down that true crime rabbit hole, though, they do. They get a bit paranoid, and they're looking at everything through that lens because that's all they can think about. You try to have a conversation with them as they've just as you rip them away from one of their podcasts, and you can see the glazed look in their eye. They're still thinking about true crime. That gets embedded. That's a thing, man. Look out.
She's so cool too, Vivica. There goes Copperhead from the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad. Kill Bill.
That's right. Oh my God, I forgot. That's right.
She was amazing in that.
She's bad.
She's in so much. So much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I think she was looking at her calendar. What else here? She was just flipping pages. Go, 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 go. I don't know. That's mind-boggling. Makes me dizzy thinking about. Well, we're going to keep it on crime, true crime here, but in Minnesota, a little closer to home. This is embarrassing that this is a crime, and B, a national story this morning. We're going to tell you about a Minnesota teenager that terrorized people. Cops called the whole thing at a restaurant in Mankato with Skittles. Yeah, Skittles, the candy. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
It is Wednesday, June the 28th. And as a public service announcement, it's important that you hear what I'm about to say. Watch out for the Skittles. What? There's Skittle attacks. The news is abuzz. We've got a Skiddler on the loose in Minnesota. He was on the loose. But the Skiddler was arrested. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Skiddler has been apprehended and is safely behind bars. Mankato residents can sleep easy tonight. The Skiddler's off the streets.
So
Thank goodness.
Explain exactly what this was. Some kid got geeked up on sniffing salts and started pelting Skittles at folks, right?
Yeah, his name's Tristan. You've got to look this story up. Just punch in Skittles and hitting news this morning. It's all over the place, embarrassingly. But he's a 19-year-old Tristan. I like the name Tristan, but he looks kind of like he's just a little baby-faced. It looks like he's about, I'd say, 5'4", 120 pounds, dripping wet. Just a sweet little thing, but he doesn't want to be a sweet. In fact, he's so sweet and innocent looking that he's gone ahead and posted tattooed an upside-down cross on his cheek and a broken heart under one eye, which I don't know what that suggests. You're still not tough, Tristan. You don't look tough. And recently he walked into a Mankato restaurant and just started whipping Skittles at people. Just walked in, that's it. He's been arrested before. He freaked out on acid one time, and they brought him in a couple of times. But this time he just comes in and starts whipping Skittles, creates such a ruckus that they call the police. Stop right there. This happened in Minnesota. You ought to be embarrassed. I don't know who was in the restaurant. I hope maybe it was a Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if they have one of those in Mankato or not, and maybe it was just a bunch of kids or something like that. But this 19-year-old weenie walked in there, started whipping Skittles. The cops called. They had to apprehend him. And this, I think, probably is my favorite part of the story. One lady did report that she was hit in the back with one of the Skittles, and it stung a little bit, but she didn't require any hospitalization. What planet am I on? Was there an adult in there? Can you imagine some little punk walking in, some little wimp, if I can use that word, wimp walking in, starts whipping Skittles at people? How quickly would you knock those out of his hand, grab him by his ear, and just toss him out the door? But
when I saw that the police were called, I thought, did I misread steak knives were being thrown? It was Skittles.
Yeah. I kept reading the story, waiting for the part, where he, whipped out a gun or a knife or something like that, right? Or, physically, violently assaulted someone. And then they wrapped the story up with, no one was seriously injured. One woman did report catching a Skittle in the back, and she said it stung but didn't require a trip to the hospital.
Oh, boy. I have seen a man felled from a mini bike with one of those hard-coated, chewy cherry candies one time. This is a true story. The kid named Chris Stevens, whose nickname was Grub. I grew up in the neighborhood. And in fact, if you called him Chris, he'd say, "My name's Grub." Like something out of a movie from the 50s, He's like one of the bad guys in Stand By Me, But Grub stole one of my bicycles. Every bicycle I've ever owned has been stolen. We could never prove it, but he admitted and told the story to others. But at one point, after stealing a bicycle and getting on the wrong side of the Gorman family, he was cruising around the pool on a mini bike, as a cool kid does, with a criminal element. And my brother Tom was like, "That's the kid that stole your bike?" I said, "Yep." And he had a little bag from the vending machine of those. They were called Michigan cherries at the time, I think. It was just a chewy candy, but it was a little tiny, hard sort of, not super hard, but, a chewy cherry center with a little sugar, harder, you got to crack it, whatever.
I'm intrigued.
You think, it's just a piece of candy. And as this guy was screaming, coming out of the cornfield towards the pool, my brother took one Michigan cherry and just Don Drysdale that thing right at Grub, and it hit him. It hit him straight between the eyes on his forehead, and he literally launched backwards off of his mini bike like something from a movie. And I mean, there was like 10 kids standing there. We all cheered for my brother like he had saved kids from a burning building. It was, we couldn't believe it. It was like, "Steve, your brother's the coolest guy I've ever seen." It was amazing, a miracle shot. Yeah. And he was mad, got up, "Oh, come on, Gorman, I'll kick your ass." It was great.
Yeah, no, that's a hero move. That's great. And on the move, no less, in between the eyes, right where you want to get him. I like it. One woman who's identified as victim 1, told the cops she was hit in the back with a Skittle, which caused a stinging pain after the Listen, Tristan, a little 19-year-old Tristan here. Buddy, I see you're a real troublemaker with the face tattoos. He's been arrested twice in recent weeks. One time, just flipping out on acid. But Tristan, trust me, you don't want to go to prison. Prison is not where you want to be hanging out, young man. Just try a different path. Get something else going.
What are you in for? Killed a couple of my neighbors. What about you? Skittles.
Skittles. Except saying
I
a really
terrorized a family restaurant with a bag of Skittles.
Yeah.
You threw the whole bag? Nope, just one at a time.
That's all it took.
Yeah, officers said when they arrived there, they noticed Skittles all over the ground and a bag of Skittles near the garbage. Again, I'm reading this from The Mirror, by the way, which is a publication in England. It's also on The Smoking Gun and the Post, all the regular rags that like to make fun, except they're making fun of our Tristan in Minnesota.
The Brits love American crime more than we love American crime.
Yeah, this is a winner right here. This is a good one.
Oh, hey, speaking of good ones, sorry, we have just crossed over the 9 o'clock Rubicon, which means right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk to Text line, you need to text the word engine. Text engine to 651-989-ROCK for a chance to win $92.50 in free gas. You can also get a chance to win tickets to an upcoming show at the Medina Entertainment Center. Plus, you will be entered into, you will then have a shot at winning, wait for it, free gas for a year. Text engine to 651-989-ROCK right now. This sponsored by Body Gastroenterology. Prize provided by Quick Trip and the Medina Entertainment Center. Bam.
I know. I wonder if you can. No, that's a terrible thought. There I go with that devious mind of mine. You know what I'm thinking? I'm that screwball that's thinking free gas for a year. So if I fill up some gas cans while I'm there and I could sell it to my friend. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's unethical.
Gives up an inch, and my man's taking a mile. It's just that simple.
I'm going to run with it. Well, we got a state terrified of Skittles. Why not? I'm going to take advantage of someone. Why not?
What if it was free Skittles for a year and that kid won? Then it'd be going a crime wave like Bonnie and Clyde, for crying out loud.
I think Skittles need to be banned. We won't have Skittles around much longer. That dangerous weapon.
I wonder if it was it regular or was it sour Skittles? Because that's a whole different. See, that's a whole thing right there. Yeah. I wonder if he stepped up to if he went into the Quick Trip and said, "I'll have some Skittles," and the guy said regular or sour, and then he got a little nervous and he couldn't make up his mind. He had what we call menu anxiety.
Yeah.
At the moment of truth. At the moment of truth, when someone looked at him and said, "What will you have?" he just panicked, like when Candace doesn't know if she wants the BLT or the MLT, a mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
I don't know. I
don't know what I want. Do I want the BLT or do I want the grilled cheese? It's tough. Menu anxiety is a real thing, and about 40% of Gen Zers say they struggle with menu anxiety. Guys, when you go into a restaurant, seriously, the youth of America, please pay attention. When you go into a restaurant, the person waiting on you, that's not an authority figure. They don't have a badge. They are not going to ask you for your GPA. They just want to know if you want the grilled cheese or the BLT. They don't care. They don't have a stake in it. Just order your food. Be confident. Order what you want to eat. Order what you want to drink. And guess what? If it's not great, there's another meal tomorrow. You can make up for it then.
They literally don't care. Yeah, I don't know what it is with some people. We've talked about price. Price is a thing, right? And prices are going up with inflation in the restaurant, the whole thing. I get it if you want to peruse the menu. I did that recently. Was out in a nice place, and let's steer away from the $68 steak. And what do we have here? Pasta. Good. We're in the $20 range. So I completely understand that. But sometimes what I will do is make up my mind. And if I'm eating with a person that's taking forever and the person has to keep, where I'm apologizing, going, just one more minute, I'll force it out of them. I'll start kicking them in the shin until they come up with something. I'll change my mind at the last moment, but that doesn't inconvenience anyone, I'll decide I'm going to get this.
It's a weird thing to me when, it's funny because like we all know somebody who has who hesitates, but then when you see a story about it saying, no, it's a real thing. And then I realize, wow, we got way too much time on our hands. Like when we before there was like running water and electricity, was there such a thing as menu anxiety? No, it was just like, did you just kill that pheasant? Give me a bite. You just moved on with it. It's like menu anxiety is a sign that we've really done well as a species. We've advanced to the time where we've gotten so advanced as a species that we're really sweating, which type of bread on our sandwich.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal, Candace.
I know.
And as Zeb said, if you're worried about the price, I get it. If you're on a specific diet, if there's certain things you're not supposed to eat, I'm totally fine. I have a buddy who just in the last few years found out he was gluten intolerant. And it's not, of course, we were like making fun of him, but it was like a real thing. He had, was it celiac disease? And all of a sudden it's He's like, I never knew how bad I felt till I felt good. So for him, every question about every menu, it's this gluten. Are you sure it's gluten-free? That makes perfect sense to me. I get it. He doesn't want to feel bad. But for the rest of us, if it's just a matter of, I'm not really sure if I think the last time I had rye bread, it caused a breakout. I had that pimple right on my forehead. Just enjoy the rye bread. Life's too short.
That's not what I do. My situation is more about wanting all of the things and not being able to choose which of the things that I want. So then I drill the server.
Oh. Okay.
Right.
Well, you're getting information. You're drilling down. You want to make sure that the person bringing you your food knows what they're talking about. I get it.
Maybe that's what they were suffering from at the Mankato restaurant. I'm sorry, this is really sticking in my craw this morning. Maybe there was so much menu anxiety in the restaurant that when this fiend, this brute, came wandering in and throwing Skittles at everyone, they just, weren't prepared to muster up and handle the assault head on.
Or maybe that was his response to all the menu anxiety he was picking up on. He's like, will you just order?
It was a trigger.
Your food, Skittle, boom. Order that sandwich, Skittle, boom. Get the soup, Skittle, boom. I can see it.
Wonder if he struggled with his choice of weapon now. Could have been Reese's Pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Skittle.
Now, Skittle's a little firmer.
Peanut M&M, that's some real heft.
Oh, a peanut M&M, that might be a better way to go. Yeah, I don't know. That might not have been a misdemeanor assault, though. That could have been felony assault with the peanut M&Ms.
How about a Whopper?
Is this Canadian bacon? Do you have turkey bacon? By the way, that reminds me, the Macon Bacon, not making as in preparing, Macon, Georgia. There is a collegiate summer baseball team called the Macon Bacon. They play every summer. They have a 7-foot-tall strip of bacon as a mascot. Its name, Kevin, as in Kevin Bacon. Cool. This is a real team. They have something in between innings. The entertainment at the minor league ballpark in between innings is called the Sizzle Squad. It's a bacon theme, right?
Yeah.
The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, which is not a group we just made up, that's a real group of guys and gals. The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine asked the team officially, will you please change your name because of the dangers that processed meats can bring to people? The committee has paid for a billboard outside the stadium that links bacon to cancer.
All right. Now you're just trying to piss me off this morning.
The team's president said Macon Bacon will be sizzling forever and will not consider a name change ever. So even he's rhyming. That's pretty great. Mm-hmm. I think what we need to do is address this Macon Bacon baseball team.
That's where you're picking your fight.
Yeah, come on. Get over it. It's like, okay, the Charlotte no seatbelts. Sure, go ahead and ask them to change their name, okay?
Right.
The Birmingham filterless camels. We don't think that's a good name for a team here. That's a health risk. There's all kinds of things, but the Macon Bacon, come on.
Yeah,
it's all in good fun. And who among us isn't willing to trade a few days off the end of our life for the beautiful aroma and flavor and taste of bacon?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing better, man.
Bacon lately.
You're not?
I've been feeling weird about pigs in general, eating pigs lately because of those pigs that fell off the trailer.
But you're not eating pigs. You're eating the meat from pigs that are already dead. Yeah. It's a whole different thing.
I just can't get that. I just can't get it out of my head.
We need to change the team name. The Albuquerque Autoerotic Asphyxiations. I don't like this team name at all, and I think it's a bad message for the children.
I like that one.
Yeah, well, the Chattanooga Choking Games. Okay, that's it. That's enough. Enough teen pranks. I can't have this anymore. You're putting a bad message out to the community. Come on, stop. The Macon Bacon is this is the same town that, by the way, there used to be a minor league hockey team there for years called the Macon Whoopie. What a great name.
Oh, funny.
Yeah,
the Macon Whoopie.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, yeah, with STD rates
and let me tell you something,
Candace.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You go to Macon, Georgia, not only will you have a bunch of bacon offered to you, go to H&H Soul Food, okay? That's all you need to know about the food in Macon, Georgia. One of the best meals you can ever have. And trust me, when they say, would you like some fresh vegetables, you best believe there's bacon chopped up in those green beans.
Oh, yeah.
They make it right at the H&H.
Yeah, Candace, you got to get over that pig thing. Have you tried eating bacon? Did it make you feel, did it bum you out since you've seen the pigs running around?
I just haven't had the guts.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't eat the guts. That's the chitlins. That's gross. You just want to get the that shoulder shank right there. That's where the good meat is.
Yeah, that's where you get that. You guys ever tried to help out so much that you really screwed up? I've done this before, where I've tried to do something good and I just really blew it. I blew it big time. I'm thinking about this story. What do you hear what this guy did? Tried to do something good and turned into one hell of an awkward moment. That story coming at 9:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 28th. There's a town in Louisiana called Morgan City, Louisiana. Right now, it's 86 degrees, which feels pretty good because yesterday, you know how weathermen will say it's 86 degrees, but it feels like because of the humidity and then the air. Yeah. Yesterday, Morgan City, according to a meteorologist from New Orleans who tweeted an image from the area, yesterday it felt like 110 in Morgan City.
Damn.
Which was really nice compared to Mandeville, Louisiana, where it was 124 yesterday on the feels like scale.
That's in the desert. They talk about that dry heat, and I've been out in that desert dry heat at 124 exactly. I remember one day being out, it was 124. But that's very different when you add humidity, even a little bit of it. I mean, it can't be 0% humidity down in Louisiana ever.
No, it's the actual temperature, whatever, yesterday was closer to 100, but yeah, that humidity adds up and it stockpiles. I remember I walked out of a hotel once in Lisbon, Portugal, and there was a bank across the street with a digital clock and temperature, and the temperature said 50, which was Celsius, which is roughly 120 something degrees. And I walked across the street, turned right back around and walked right back into the hotel because I was like, I don't know if that's actually a full 120 something, but this is way too hot to be outside. It was disgusting. It's literally oppressive. It just makes you feel like, by God, I am going to freeze my pajamas tonight.
Yeah.
We talked about that yesterday. They say when it gets hot, freeze your PJs. Come on, do it.
I told young Karsten, little 6-year-old Karsten, about that the other day. He was still in his PJs midday, and so it's hot out. I said, throw those things in the freezer for a little while. And his eyes got big. He's like, that's the greatest idea ever.
Sure.
Mom, I want to. And I'm like, sorry, Mom. We read it on the internet. But, a lot of people don't. I mean, we were such rubes from the Midwest when we got out to the Mojave at the National Training Center for a little desert training. Back for a little sandbox in the Middle East back there in the early 90s. And so we went out for 3 weeks of that in the Mojave. I'd never been out to a desert environment. And it was, I think, 116 or something that day. And you know what the boys from South Dakota did? They put on their swim trunks. We're going to the swimming pool.
Sure.
And we get over to the swimming pool. You walk out in that. And first thing I'm thinking is, boy, look at me. Look at all these tan lines, my farmer tan. I'm going to lay down and get a little sun. 1,001, 1,002. Oh, I get why everyone's in the pool and no one's laying out. You had to be neck deep in that stuff. It's hot. So, then you understand why in the Middle East they completely cover their bodies. And we had to do the same thing. In fact, we had to wear gloves everywhere because you can't touch anything made of steel when it's 120 degrees out. That's a different kind of heat.
No, I've played gigs where you sit down at the kit and the drums have been sitting out all day in the heat, and you go to touch a cymbal to adjust it, and it burns your fingertips. It's like, that's problematic.
Hot cymbal.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
But and then they really got hot once I started sizzling those bad boys with a little magic hot break to the table. Hey, you ever? We all get online sometimes and you see something that says, you enter in a dollar amount if you're doing a little transfer within your own bank or something. Mm-hmm. And I do this all the time. Like if it's $150, I'll hit 150 and then realize, I got to hit 2 more zeros because there's a decimal point. Like I always just want to hit like 150 and it be 150. I don't want it to be, but I'll put 150 and I'll look up and it says $1.50. I do that all the time. That works the other way too. A guy from California, a dude named Michael, just put a story up online. He has a neighbor who had forwarded to him a GoFundMe post. Okay, there was some efforts abroad. There are people in Bangladesh looking for a little assistance, help. There's a starving community there. I don't know the ins and outs, but there's a GoFundMe page. And Michael thought, you know what? I'm gonna donate to this charity that my neighbor's concerned with. And he also put in $150. But apparently he got a little itchy with the trigger finger He made a donation to GoFundMe for $15,000.
Oh, gut punch.
That's a couple extra zeros where they did not put the decimal point in there to protect him. His credit card company gave him some notifications like, yo, dude, you just put $15K on this, but it did go through.
Oh,
when he realized that, I just gave 15 large. He called GoFundMe and explained. He got in touch with them, and they were like, okay, this happens. We understand. We're going to refund it. But before his refund could be processed, the charity in Bangladesh, of course, got a notification that someone gave them 15 grand. They sent Michael pictures and videos of people in Bangladesh thanking him for his massive donation, celebrating the windfall, holding up signs with his name. Like, thank you, Michael. You have helped. You've saved lives, literally. Thank you. And then he's like, oh, my God, what do I do now? He had to talk to somebody with the campaign and go, listen, I feel terrible about this, but I can't give you $15,000. And so they ended up saying, okay, fine, we'll give you the money back. But then he reversed course a little bit and said, I tell you what, I'll give you $1,500. So from $150 to $15,000 and then back down to $1,500. And you could say he was guilted into it. But let me tell you something. If you make that mistake and then you get a video sent, it's like living through one of those old Sally Struthers TV commercials, but you see your own face, like they paint your face on a water tower. Here's our savior. How are you supposed to take the money back? It's brutal.
Did they shoot another video holding up the signs with his name crossed out and go, you suck?
Yeah.
Oh, you pissed off the Hindus, man. That's bad karma.
Duplicitous Michael, we call him now.
Although 1,500, that's a good consolation. That's probably further than I would have.
Oh, sure. No, that's a serious thing. So he said that the host of the charity was very understanding. Like they really weren't trying to guilt him into doing it. He felt after speaking to them, he didn't feel guilty at all. He really appreciated how understanding they were. So he said, tell you what, I'll give you $1,500.
Yeah.
And then he posted this story on Reddit, as people do, like, you're not going to believe this crazy thing that happened. A few local news out there picked the story up. They explained it. And then all of a sudden other people got involved. The goal for the entire campaign was $26,000. They're over, and now because everybody that heard the story started donating, it's up to over 120 grand now.
Isn't that's karma, man? That's how that's supposed to work, right there. Everyone's kind of a winner in that deal, except him. He's out $1,500, but he's got to feel good about how it just sort of snowballed from there.
Sure.
The attention he was able to bring upon it.
Well, his $1,500 directly led to 120 grand, which is pretty awesome. The problem now is they sent a video and they're all riding around on mini bikes. So that wasn't really the point. You know what I mean? They just went crazy on the mini bike scene over there.
They're living large now. I one time didn't have a pot to piss in, ended up at a ski charity, the kind of thing I would go in and give like a $50 donation and think to myself, that's all right, I'll have to make the ends meet, but I think I can kick in 50 here. And I've been squealing, having a few beers. It's the end of the night. They go with the live auction, not with a professional auctioneer, but some guy gets up there and he just starts and I'm talking back there, and I see they have a pair of skis up there, and they're doing like 4. It'll give me 4, 5, 5, 5. We got 5.5, and I'm drinking and not very bright when it comes to auctions and that sort of thing. I'm like, come on, man, $5 for a pair of skis? Let's kick it off. Let's get it going. I drove it all the way up to $8. And they go, nobody went any higher. And I'm like, really, you cheap bastards? It was, of course, $800.
Oh, yeah.
That I paid for the pair. And my buddies are going, are you out of your mind, man? You're paying $800 for a pair of skis? And I went, $800. Oh, I did. And I did. And that's one of those where the old debit card, you hand it to them, and they hand it back and go, thank you. And you went, wait, what? That went through? Son of a... So I did a little more tap dancing to make those ends meet for the next month or so.
I similarly got crushed at an auction. Talk about getting swept up in the fervor of a drunken auction. Who knew that was even possible? I would have laughed at anybody that ever told me a story like that until it happened to me. And it was for my kids went to this little preschool, a little hole in the wall, really cute. We loved all the teachers, and they had an auction at one school year, and they were putting up things that the kids made themselves. Yeah. And then the big thing, there was this big trunk with a lid. It was like a book. It was a box for books or toys, and it had like little mosaic designs on it, and all the kids had painted it. But it was, you could put like, you could. It's like the size of a suitcase, but it has a lid you can lift. I mean, a big, thick trunk. It was really cool. And my kids had both painted on it, and they said, like, oh, we love that. It's so fun and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, I should get that. Well, they'd be thrilled if that thing they made was in our own home. And much like you, it was like, do I hear $50? I'm like, yeah, I got 50. And then I look over, and one of my nemesis parents.
They're there going with the big bid.
Well, just something about him just bugged me.
Yeah.
He's bidding it, and I'm like, I'm not letting that guy beat me. And suddenly it's game 7 of the stinking NBA Finals. I'm Michael Jordan, like, you will never win. And yeah, again, at least $500 before I win. And I'm like pumping my fist in the air. And then I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? I truly, I never understood the power of the drunk auction until then.
Yeah, it gets you. It sucks you in, doesn't it? And then the euphoria, and then the shock, and then the remorse. And
all
do you
of it.
still have that hanging around?
It's still in the house. It is still in the house.
All
Yeah.
right.
Are you kidding? I still have an IKEA chair I bought for $9 in 2002. I put it together and it still works, so it's never going anywhere. That's how that works. Hey, let's look back at a few more things.
Today is special.
Today is special.
Tell me things.
Tell me things.
Steve, come up here for a second.
June 28th, 1976 was the national debut for the greatest pitcher in Major League Baseball history to only record 29 wins in his career. And that was Mark the Bird Fidrich of the Detroit Tigers. If you were alive in 1976, you heard about this guy. The Detroit Tigers sensation for all of one season. He pitched on this day on ABC's Monday Night Baseball. He threw a shutout complete game against the Yankees, and overnight went to national sensation. He was the first athlete ever on the cover of Rolling Stone, for crying out loud. His nickname was the Bird because he kind of looked like Big Bird. He talked to the ball. He talked to his glove. He paced around like he was on any number of amphetamines while pitching. He was a hell of a show. Blew his shoulder out, blew his knees out. And again, the man only had a career record of 29-19. One of the great comets that burned out way too brightly in baseball history.
Yeah, I mean,
on this day. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just nothing. Just I remember him coming on, and he was like the biggest thing, and then all of a sudden he was just gone a few years later.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, in 1976, the idea that there was Monday Night Baseball. I mean, think about that. Like you would just turn on to watch a game on Monday night, a national broadcast. Very different days. On this day in 1997, Mike Tyson, a heavyweight boxer, was fighting Evander Holyfield, another heavyweight boxer. And Mike Tyson decided, I'm getting my ass kicked. Maybe I'll just try to bite his ear off. And he tried to, and he did take a sizable chunk of Evander Holyfield's ear off with his teeth, which is the farther we get away from it, the more unbelievable. As bizarre as that was in real time watching it, it's weirder now to even think. That's one of those all-time sports, wait, that actually happened moments? And the answer is, yes, it actually happened, as mind-boggling as that is.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.